Welcome to the Life Begins at Midlife podcast, where we pop the champagne to celebrate the unexplored joys and endless adventures that await us in the midlife. Flipping the script on what it means to hit those fabulous 40s, 50s and beyond. Because here, we don't believe in midlife crises, only midlife revolutions. Reminding you that the only thing we're letting go of at midlife is the notion that it's all downhill from here. Nope, we're here to climb higher, dream bigger, and laugh louder. Each week, we'll dive into the myths, share the truths, and unlock the secrets to making the midlife years your best years yet. From rediscovering lost passions to embarking on new adventures, we're covering it all. Expect candid conversations with inspiring guests who've turned their midlife years into their most dynamic chapter yet. We're talking to everyone from entrepreneurs who've launched successful startups from their kitchen tables to adventurers who decided age is just a number when it comes to climbing mountains or sailing the seas. So if you've ever found yourself pondering, is this all there is? Or you're just eager to embrace the richness of midlife with both arms wide open, then you, my friend, are in the right place. Grab your favorite drink, get cozy, and let's show the world that life doesn't just begin at 20, it begins again at midlife. And remember, in the Life Begins at Midlife podcast, the only rule is to live confidently, love unconditionally, and laugh uncontrollably. Let's get started. So hello and welcome to today's episode of Life Begins at Midlife. In the studio today, we have got Marjorie Grice, and I'd like to welcome her, and I'd like you all to give her a warm welcome as well. So Marjorie, lovely to have you. Would you like to tell the guests a little bit about who you are and what brought you to this stage of your life?
Hi there. Thank you so much, Jackie, for having me on your podcast. Life Begins. I'm certainly somebody that believes in that. My role as a holistic nutritionist is to help women that are stressed out and exhausted, women over 40 in particular, and are fed up with being tired and anxious. And I like to help them nourish themselves inside and out using food and lifestyle changes. So that's in a nutshell what I do. And I'm very passionate about nutrition and sort of root cause lifestyle medicine.
Sounds great. And I think it's something that, I know I definitely could use at some point in time, because I think we get so caught up in life and the busyness of, running our own businesses or looking after families and maybe even caring for elderly parents and just doing everything for everybody else, that we put ourselves at the bottom of the pile. And we forget that unless we, put ourselves on top and look after ourselves, we're not going to have the resources to be able to be there for anybody else.
Exactly. It's that put your own oxygen mask on first thing, isn't it?
Absolutely. But yeah, when you're in the thick of things, that's the last thing you think about. You're wondering why you're gasping for air after all. It's because you've not been taking care of yourself. So Marjorie, when we were talking before we hit the record button, you mentioned about retraining later on in life. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. I'll start at the beginning. Obviously, I'm going to make it very brief because, midlife, there's a lot of years to cover, isn't it? So I've always been fascinated by food and health and well-being, and I was in that industry for most of my life, training initially to work within the sort of spa industry. And then I also did dancing as a teen, so it was very ingrained, to eat. But at the time, though, it was all low-calorie diets, low fat, exercise hard and all that aerobic stuff. So yeah, things have definitely changed, thankfully. But it was, something that I was really interested in. So I had about 30 years in total in the wellness and, beauty industry, so to speak. And then I specialized more in massage and skin treatments because I had this desire to sort of, work with people for longer than just a one-off thing. And also the whole spa world changed. In fact, when I started in it, I worked in a health farm, so that shows you how it's swung around spa and pampering and indulgence, which is good. There's nothing wrong with that, but it moved a bit away from the health side of it. And I'm just not into, we all know that quick fixes don't work. We all want them, but they don't really work. And yeah, it's lovely to go and have a nice spa treatment. I'm certainly in favour of all that because that can help us relax. But yeah, so my desire was to get the deeper changes and to work with people. Develop connection with clients really as well is quite important for me, one of my core values. So I suppose it was wanting that deeper level of help. And I had this desire to train in nutrition, which was with me for a long time, but I didn't really get the opportunity. And I had my own health challenges too, which led me down that route. So in my mid 30s, mainly that hit me. Well, I had a younger family, and I had ulcerative colitis, which is an autoimmune bowel condition, which was for a long time, I was just told it was IBS. So, I totally get where people are coming from with gut health. And then finally getting to train at menopause or at midlife, going through it anyway. I mean, I'd put a lot of things in place, so I think I didn't have an incredibly hard time. And at that point in time, which is well, I qualified 5 years ago now. The whole menopause talk was just beginning. Really, it was just taking off. It was just starting to take off. So there is, even in the 10 years or so, that I've been aware of my own sort of realization of midlife and menopause, the knowledge is much broader, so it is much better. Um, and yeah, I realized that dream to train. So what was I trying to say? Yes, just that I did get through it, but in retrospect, I can see lots of things that I would have done differently. And I think that's what a lot of people say about the menopause, even if they didn't have a particularly bad time. There's a lot of things that, understanding why they were feeling so anxious, for example, or so exhausted. And instead of, like you say, beating ourselves up and trying to work harder at stuff, we actually understand what's going on. So knowledge is power, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah, and yeah, definitely. The more we talk about things, the better it becomes, and we realize, we're not the only one going through that. Because I know at some points, I go through certain things, and your first thing you think is like, I'm the only one that's going through it. No one will understand. But because we're talking about it a lot more, you realize that, oh, everybody else, or a lot of other people, maybe it's a better way of putting it, are going through similar, and some even worse. And you think, sure, maybe I'm not so bad then, you know, and you kind of have more of an understanding. And also, I find if you see people out there, like women out maybe having a bit of a moment, you can be a bit more empathetic to what they're going through, because often society says, "Oh, just get a grip, sort yourself out," and you just sometimes just that knowing smile across the room almost just gives that person a bit of like, "Okay, I've been seen. I'm not,
Yeah.
alone in this."
I think that highlights the importance of community, doesn't it? And that connection, which, like I said, was important to me. And that's also why although I work one to one mainly, I am developing like a group program, because I think that group dynamic is really important for
Absolutely,
people.
yeah. There's definitely I think there's a space for both. Hey, there's that deep transformation you can have one on one, where you feel in that safe space where you can really divulge everything you need to. But then there's that space within a group, the community, where it's a different energy completely, where you might not go as deep out in the open, but still the transformation is deep within yourself,
Yeah,
and you can share
absolutely.
as little or as much as you would like to share.
You're right. And at the end of the day, we can have knowledge is good, but a lot of knowledge doesn't always mean we do it, does it? Because a lot of us know we need to be doing stuff with our diet and lifestyle, but we don't do it. And nutritional therapists are just the same. We're no different. You know, so like you say, the group can help actually put these small actions into place. Just like the one-to-one support can too, in a different kind of way. But I think you've got that kind of morale, haven't you? Other people cheering you
Absolutely,
on, and
and
and with similar experiences. Yeah.
absolutely, because you get to hear how other people are implementing things. Because you as the the coach, mentor person that's helping the person, will come at it with a certain perspective, and then but people will implement things in a different way as well. They'll take it and put their own little spin on it. And then if they're in a group community, then you think, oh, okay, I never thought of it that way. And it's like there's just that different perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's important to remember, isn't it? We're all very unique in personality and the way we learn, and even biochemically. The way I approach people with my root cause approach with nutrition, which seeks to sort of look at the imbalances that are going on. So it's scientific, but it's looking at the whole body, looking at what systems are out of balance.
Yeah. So when
Mm.
you work with your clients, is it in person or do you work online as well?
I work online now, actually. I moved to Scotland last year, so I don't actually have a space at the moment to work from. But we've all gone online, haven't we, in the pandemic, pretty much. So I think what I find is that people find that quite convenient, actually more feasible for
Absolutely, because you don't have
if
to
you're seeing
factor that
somebody every
travel time,
fortnight.
that parking, that all
Yeah,
that sort of thing, and you can be
yeah,
wherever in the world, and I can be wherever in the world, and long as our times match over, we can have a conversation. And
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah.
mm,
Yeah, that's how I work. So yeah, generally with well, I've got a 6 week program, and then I also do like a 12 week with different sort of levels of contact. Yeah, that's how I work mainly. But what I'm basically doing, and it's the same even in the group program sort of approach, or even when I share sort of topics on social, it's trying to work out what imbalances are going on in the body. So obviously we're not medical professionals, so we're not going to diagnose anything, but we can work with diagnosis, and see what's out of balance. And one of the main things that I address often first, is the energy fluctuation, or the energy roller coaster, I sometimes call it,
yes,
that you see alongside gut health. But they are linked. There is a link between the two. But those two are the main things that often are quite foundational for the ladies that I've seen.
yeah, well, that's it. Because
Mm.
often, if your energy's more stable, then you probably end up having a better night's sleep. And
Mm.
then, if your gut is working correctly, then that'll help you with your sleep and that'll help you with your energy. And it all just feeds into each
Yeah.
other. And it,
Exactly. That's the beauty of a holistic approach, isn't it? If you manage to tip the balance somewhere, it eventually feeds through into other areas. So
the
that's what I
thing.
love about it so much. Is that
Yeah. And then
great sort of synergy that goes on.
yeah. I said, oh, I just went to go and sort out I don't know, my energy levels. And wow, look, I'm sleeping so much better. And So if you've got sort of one thing that you can impart to the ladies that, maybe even not even just the ladies, because we do have some
Mm,
gentlemen listening as well. Yeah, to the people out there, with regards to, it's maybe pick on the energy. If there's
yeah.
is there one thing that people can do or can be mindful of or something like that with regards to energy in midlife?
Yeah, sure. So our energy is affected because the changes with hormones at midlife. I mean, and midlife obviously encompasses menopause, doesn't it? It's a bit of a broader term, but it does encompass that phase. So before and after, so peri and post menopause, the fluctuations in estrogen and progesterone will affect how our cells respond to the insulin and how we manage our blood sugar, which is basically how we get our energy in our body from our food, which we all kind of know, but we take it for granted, don't we? We know that we eat for energy, but we don't often think of the process that goes on with that. And it really does have a huge impact on that metabolism. And this is why women notice a bit of weight gain and their energy crashes. And also why, if they try to go on a diet, they actually can't sustain it because, they need to eat slightly differently, because they'll actually feel more hungry in a sense if they start eliminating lots of things. So the main thing I would say is to have a balanced plate, and that's something a lot of nutritionists talk about. But by having a balanced plate, it means you've got a balance of the macronutrients, and there's obviously a lot to talk about macronutrient components. But this one is a general guideline. Obviously, there are individual cases, so there's quite different. So basically, we're talking about looking at your plate as a circle. So half the plate would be your vegetables with lots of different colors, greens as well, and that provides you with fiber and lots of nutrients that we need. Um, a lot of variety, and people are often surprised about. They don't think about fiber in vegetables in general, but the fiber in sort of leafy and coloured vegetables is actually quite good and quite helpful for the gut. It's a different soluble type of fiber that really helps with all sorts of gut problems, really. Helps to get that balance back, actually. And obviously, fiber helps to fill us up. So that's what's going to fill us up and help our energy be sustained. So the carbohydrates that you might eat that will burn through glucose a bit quicker, especially if they're the refined ones that we know we shouldn't be eating, it kind of balances all of that. It kind of slows it all down, slows the digestive process down. And so does protein. So the other two quarters of the plate are made up of protein and your carbohydrates, basically. So all of them work together to give you that nice balanced energy. Hope that makes sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So it's not just having this pizza on your plate and hoping for the best. And, it is all about that fuel that you do put in. You're not going to go and take your car to the garage and fill it up with a substandard fuel. You're going to make sure that you put in the right fuel in for that specific car. And it's the same thing with our bodies. If we put in the wrong stuff in, or things that aren't going to allow us to run at peak performance, no wonder we fail the
Yeah.
MOTs when we do go for them.
I know. But life gets in the way, doesn't it? But I often say, just put some salad with your pizza. Do you know what I mean? You can make everything a bit healthier if you have one of those days and you haven't got the healthiest stuff in. Just add what you've got in the fridge, roast some vegetables. I don't know. There are ways to make things more healthy.
Absolutely. Or add something on top of the pizza, like, I don't know, mushrooms and bits and bobs, tomatoes and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Or more protein often because it's so carb dense, isn't it?
Absolutely. And also knowing that, if it's only a one-off thing every now and then, that it's okay, just get, back to things again tomorrow or later on in the day, depending on when it is. And don't beat
That's a
yourself up. I
massive,
think that's
a
the thing.
massive side of it. We've got to shake off the sort of diet mentality, haven't we? And
Oh,
I
no, I'm a
often say to people,
failure.
I'm teaching
I've
you how
gone
to
and
eat. Yeah, I'm teaching you how to eat, not to diet. And there's a big difference.
I'm shocking. I've just gone and binged on a pizza, it's just like, okay, great. I've had the pizza, right? What's the next meal? And then trying to, make sure that
Yeah.
you're getting some nutrients in that way. And
Yeah. I think you can enjoy it. You can have your cake and eat it in a sense.
absolutely.
And
Well, yeah.
often
I mean,
if it
what's
isn't.
life at midlife without a piece of cake every now and then?
And the thing is, what happens is that the more healthy you eat, actually, you don't want the things that aren't that healthy, and you think of different ways of making cake, for example, that you prefer. So you actually don't want the things
Absolutely.
that aren't so good for you.
I know. I found in times when I haven't been eating as healthy, you tend to crave more of the rubbish as well. But as soon as you flip the coin again and you start eating more healthy, you don't even think twice about going for the healthy
Mm.
stuff because that's just what your body's craving. It's like when you're drinking
Mm.
enough water, your body starts craving that water.
Yeah,
And
that
it's
touches on the energy roller coaster actually, because the more we eat the wrong sort of carbs and sugar, the more we crave it because our energy is just going up and down. So, we
yeah,
get the sugar high and then we get the sugar low, and so then we crave some more sugar to get
to
back
boost us
come
back
back
up
there
again.
again.
Yeah, that's
So
when you
it's
go for that slab of chocolate and all those things that you, and you know that it's just going to make you feel worse again after a while. But somehow we still do it to ourselves. Yeah.
yeah, it's a massive journey, isn't it? I think it does come like you put across. It is about that self-care aspect and putting our value on ourselves. That's a lot of that piece, I think, because we can know the stuff to do, but we don't always do it.
Yeah.
So it's learning to love our body and know our body and listen to our body actually.
That's it. Because often, if you're honest with yourself, there'll be little niggles that you've been not listening to that, if you just pay attention to that, you'll think, oh, okay, that's why, because I've not been doing, enough exercise or whatever it might be. I've not been eating enough or drinking enough water or something along the lines.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But someone said to me a while back, and I thought it was actually a very interesting comment. She said, because someone had said it to her, she said, you're eating today for your 90-year-old self.
Mm.
I thought, wow, if you look at it in that point of view, because we don't always look at it like that,
No, it's
just
true. We are
tend to
setting
take
ourselves up
things
for
for
the
granted.
future.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
just take things for granted. Oh well, yeah, because when we were younger, we could get away with a lot more. And as you
you
get
can,
older,
you
you
can.
start realizing that you've got to, be a bit
Yeah.
more sensible about what you're doing.
And that's why I think midlife is an opportunity because it's almost like menopause shows us things. We think it's all happened at menopause, but actually we've been eating wrongly or not attending to some of these things. Then it shows up basically. I feel it just shows up the imbalances. So it's an opportunity to actually be more
Yeah,
healthy.
absolutely. It's almost like a second. Someone called it the second act. It's almost like, right, the first act. If we can review that, how did that go? Is there anything we need to tweak that we want to tweak that we can have? The second act can be like the best.
Yeah,
So it's
true.
interesting to look
Yeah,
at
yeah.
it. So,
True. I mean, and any change can feel a bit harsh, can't it? It can feel harsh for people, I think, but it's
absolutely.
seeing it in a different way, isn't it? A different
But I
perspective
think
on
what once you stop, moving forward with it and you are eating better and your energy feels better, then you can start seeing the rewards and then it encourages you to carry on with that. Because it
Absolutely.
doesn't take that long to start seeing some kind of change when you do
Mhm.
start eating.
No, absolutely. And that, that situation you describe where people, the more of the bad stuff you eat, the more you want. That I obviously see quite a few people like that. And they're amazed at how quickly you can, if you actually just do it for a few days, it disappears. A lot of it attends to a lot of the cravings. Obviously, there is an emotional component for a lot of people, but it can sort a lot of those cravings out for
Absolutely.
people. Yeah, quite
Yeah.
quickly.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It doesn't take as long as people think. Yeah, losing the weight that you've been carrying around all the time, that does take a little bit of time generally, but to start feeling better
Um,
within yourself, that generally starts
yeah,
shifting quite quickly.
yeah, and if you can stabilize your blood sugar, then actually you will lose weight in the long term because that's it's part of the whole process. Really, that is how we
Yeah.
get our energy. And if we have too many carbohydrates, that's what causes a fat storage.
Yeah.
When we've got this sugar in our bloodstream that in excess, the body just says, "Oh, I'll store that for later."
That's
So it's
it.
not, the high fat as we once thought at all, as we've been
That's
taught.
it.
It's
Stay away
actually
from the full cream milk and all the butters and things like that, but it's
not
actually
the
not that.
case.
It's all
It's
the breads and the
carbohydrate.
carbohydrates. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm not saying all carbohydrates because I don't believe that a low carb diet is actually that good for midlife women. Personally, that's not what I found.
Mm.
But it's the refined stuff and the sugar, the
That's it. I
sugary
think
foods. Yeah.
it's all in moderation, I think, to a point, and it's working
Yeah.
on what your moderation is for the different things that are good for your body and how. 'Cause, yeah, some people
Absolutely.
go all the one way, all the other way, and then yeah, that's not moderation again. So,
Yeah. As humans, we kind of want that, don't we? We want some. I don't know. We want some magic pill or something, don't we? We seem to have a leaning towards that.
no, with everything, hey.
Yeah, with everything. But I think again, once you get older, you realize you're kind of getting over the magic pill thing, and you realize that's not the solution because you've tried them all.
Absolutely, and then yeah, you have that maybe a quick win because you might be
Mm.
starving yourself
Yeah.
and you might drop down a few pounds quickly, but you
Mhm.
realize as soon as you start going back to normal life,
Mm.
that's not a sustainable
Mm.
way of living. Or even
No.
going to the gym for 24 hours a day. That's not sustainable.
No, no. I mean, they do say, don't they? You'll never exercise off a bad diet. You just can't.
You
Yeah.
see these people that walk out and they go to McDonald's or something like that and go for a Big Mac and a and a Coke or Big Mac and a Diet Coke and you just think, okay, it's a healthy way of living. But yeah, might be their treat. You never know.
Yeah, we never know, do we? But yeah, I
Absolutely.
think there's lots still more to discover, isn't there, on the whole? It's always changing nutrition as well, but
That's
we've
it. There's
learnt a
always
lot.
new things, and I mean, there's lots of talk as well about the veggies and things like that not maybe being as nutritious as what they were a few
Mm.
decades ago, depending on where been grown and all that sort of thing. So I suppose even with that,
Yeah,
they'll have to, instead of
yeah.
saying an apple a day keeps the doctor away, maybe nowadays it'll be, I don't know, 3 apples a day keeps the doctor away, depending on what it is.
It is a thing, isn't it? That, and I often think I've been thinking more about that recently. The nutrients in our food. And of course, you can eat organic and all the rest of it, but that's no guarantee that the nutrient content is better, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd like to think it would be, but it isn't necessarily. There's
No.
no science to back that up, that I'm
I
aware of
often
anyway.
wonder, how organic is it really? You know what I mean? Is it really? Is it being grown next door to the other plants that aren't organic? Is it just a label that they might put on?
Yeah.
Questions you ask
They are
yourself.
quite strict if it's proper soil association organic. They are quite strict, aren't they? But the thing that happens with that is that things that are wild, wild venison is an example that I can think of, or if it was wild salmon, you cannot say that that was organic because they can't prove it. But it's actually probably had a healthier life, hasn't it,
Absolutely.
in many
Yeah,
ways? But yeah,
that's
it's
it.
a funny one, isn't it?
Yeah. All these labels we like to put on things as well, hey, just to make us feel that we're doing the right thing or it's
Yeah, it's a whole different topic, that isn't it, to explore, I guess.
absolutely.
Um, something you said then, I'm going to add to it. Just that, yeah, I think there's definitely a place for whole foods just as much as possible, and we can get very bogged down, can't we, with what we should and shouldn't be doing. I think you just have to start.
Mm,
Yeah,
absolutely.
and it depends what budget you've got as well, because a lot of these health foods are expensive, aren't they? So,
Well, that's a sad
yeah.
thing, when you look at the things on the shelf, and you want you want to eat healthy, but then you look at the cost of it. But then sometimes the healthier food, you I don't know, you end up eating less sometimes because it's
Mm.
more filling, whereas
Kind
the
of, yeah, the
unhealthy stuff, you
decision
feel
I
like you've
made.
got to eat so much more.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, healthier food in general should fill you up, because, like I've said, you've got the fiber in there, the protein. You're not going to burn through the calories as much. But also, I'd rather pay for meat from the butcher than other stuff that I don't know the provenance of. I mean, I'd rather pay that bit more and just have it less often, or have a smaller amount.
That's what I'm
So
saying. Yeah,
yeah,
at least you know what you're having instead of having this big bulk, on your plate.
yeah. And
And
and food's been very cheap, and I think we forget that food has gone down in price, hasn't it, because of all the competition and whatever, and the mass production.
yeah,
So we used to pay proportionately more for our food not that long ago.
that's
So we
it.
forget that. Of course, everything else has gone up. So it
Yeah.
is a challenge, isn't it?
But then if you look at, your description of the plate, if you've got half a plate of veggies versus a quarter plate of meat,
Mm, mm,
that's, some people eat the
yeah,
opposite way around. They've got three-quarters
we do.
plate of meat and
We do.
maybe a quarter of a carbohydrate slash veg, you know what I mean? If you're lucky. So, if you
Yeah,
eat
they
it in the
do.
right
They do.
proportions, your budget should be,
Yeah, I like to think so. Um,
but
absolutely.
again, it's
And
your
there's definitely.
priorities. Hey, do you value your health by the fuel you're putting in, or are you going to put whatever it is in and then have to pay for medication and
I was
treatments
just
and
going to
things like that?
say,
Yeah,
there's a long-term cost, isn't there, as well?
absolutely. It's not always just a you know quick fix, like you say. So it's all
Mm.
down to choice.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I think it's making those, because I always feel, telling people to eat their vegetables, it can sound a bit,
But
it
like your
sounds a
mum
bit
saying,
old
come on,
fashioned.
sit down, you need to eat your veggies.
Drink your water. But
Mm,
actually, I try to make it more interesting than that. Some
that's
nice,
it.
tasty recipes and so on.
That's it. There's so many nice ways that you can prepare your food. It doesn't have to be that like really soft spoiled, where all the nutrients were in the water.
Oh
And you've got
no.
this grey beans that are ending up on your plate because all the nutrients have been cooked out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know.
there's
I
so many
know.
different
And
ways.
there is a lot. I mean, although we've said some things are expensive, there's a lot more things that are accessible now as well, aren't they? They might not be perfect, like your bagged salad and stuff like that might not be perfect, but it's a step in the right direction, and it makes life easier.
That's it. And like with some of the veg you can get the greens. You can get
Mm,
some really
mm,
well priced greens. They might not be the fancy greens that you might want to
mm,
be eating, but they're still as nutritious. So there's different ways of
absolutely. Yeah.
looking at it.
Yeah.
So yeah, so thank
Absolutely.
you, Marjorie, for joining us today. It's been an interesting discussion. It'll be good to get you back to really talk in depth about, some topic on nutrition and energy
Yeah.
or whatever. We'll find something
Mm,
that'll be
yeah.
appealing to the listeners. But yeah, it's good to hear your story of how, you've retrained at midlife and are enjoying, doing what you're doing and being able to help, the other ladies out there with their health and nutrition. So thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you very much too.
As we wrap up another episode here at Life Begins at Midlife, we want to take a moment to extend a heartfelt thank you to our sponsor, Jackie Bourne from Purpose Unleashed. Jackie's commitment to empowering individuals on their journey of self-discovery and transformation truly aligns with the spirit of our show. Whether you're navigating the challenges of midlife, seeking clarity on your next steps, or simply looking to live a more fulfilled life, Purpose Unleashed offers the guidance, tools, and support you need to turn your aspirations into reality. For those of you feeling stuck or at a crossroads, remember, it's never too late to redefine your path and embrace the life you've always dreamed of. Visit Purpose Unleashed website to discover how you can start your transformative journey today. Let Jackie be your guide to a more vibrant, purpose-driven life. You can find this link to the website in the show notes below. And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in and sharing your time with us. Remember, every day is a new opportunity to grow, to love, and to make a difference. Until next time, keep striving, keep dreaming, and keep listening.